Hello friends, welcome to this video of Microsoft Excel in which we are going to discuss this font section of the home ribbon. This font section mainly contains various drop downs and buttons related to font formatting as well as color and pattern filling of the cell, also to give borders to an individual selected cell or range. These are the most frequently used functions related to font formatting, filling and borders, and the same function can be accessed through right clicking of the mouse over a cell or selected range, and that will give us this shortcut menu with all the possible functions and most frequently used buttons. Now over and above this buttons or functions, we are also having some additional useful functions related to fonts and formatting that can be accessed through this dialog box by clicking this arrow over the right lower border of this font section. That will give us the format cell dialog box, which has this font, border and fill tab, which is having additional function over and above the functions available in this font section. It is also having this number tab, which is relevant to this number section, and alignment tab, which is relevant to this alignment section of the home ribbon. And we will be seeing this tab in the separate video, as well as this protection tab would also be discussed in a separate video. Additionally, we may also access this section by right clicking and using this shortcut menu and selecting this format cell. Now to understand utility of each and every options available in this font section, we have this example with 4 different OPDs and patient attendees in this different OPDs on different days. We have this row of total, which has total of all these days for a specific OPD. Now by default, Microsoft Excel provide Calibri font of 11 point size, and that is to adjust to height of a row which is of 15 point. So by providing 11 size, it will be able to provide some space above and below this font. Now we can change the font type and size by this menu, and to easily observe that thing, we are removing this grid line to perceive it better. So we can change the font type to any type as per our liking and that suits our document, as well as we can change the font size to any of the size available in this drop down or by typing the size manually in this box. You can also increase the font size and reduce the font size by these 2 buttons here, and you can adjust it likewise. Now each step of this button would increase or decrease the size based on available sizes in this drop down menu. We may also change the font to bold or selected range to italic and the data with underline as per our requirement. You may also change the underline to double underline from this drop down. The shortcut for these functions are Ctrl B for bold, Ctrl I for italic and Ctrl U for underline. We may also change the font color from this drop down as per our requirement from the available colors here, or if we want more color, we can get it from this dialog box in which we have this standard colors as well as some custom colors which we can select from this section, and this section provides us the view of current font color compared to the newer one. If we select yes, and it will be changed as per our requirement. We may also change the fill of the specific section of the selected range by this drop down, and we can select the theme color from the available color as well as more color similar to font color as well. Now if you see here, the default fill is to no fill, and if you select white color as fill, it will look the same in this sheet. But the basic difference is, if you fill with no fill, it will not have any background. So if you move the data as a picture over any shape or image or chart, it will look like this one. But if you have white fill, it will look like this one in any of the chart or shape. So that is the basic difference between this two fields, no fill and white color fill, though it may not be clearly visible when you are using this worksheet. Now we move to various border in which we can provide border to a selected range or cell. These are the individual border here in which you can make top, bottom, left and right border individually. So if you do that for a selected range, it will just make right border. But if you would have selected one single cell, it will prepare right border of the individual cell. Similarly, we may have selection of no border if you want to remove all the borders, or all the borders if you want to prepare all borders in between as well as outside. Now suppose you want to just have outside border, which is single line border, you can do it by that function. If you want to have thick border, you can do it like this one. Additionally, you can have bottom double border, thick border, top and bottom and various other combination of border in this default section. Then you can also draw the border and you can select outside border for this section by draw border section. If you select draw border grid, it will be making the border of in between cell as well. So it will make a grid rather than just outline border. You can come out of this pen tool by just pressing escape button in keyboard. Then you can have this eraser function by which you can erase a specific section of border as per your requirement, and you can also erase an individual border if you want such kind of formatting. Additionally, we may select a specific line color or a specific line style from this selection, and we may apply the same border with this paint tool or after selecting area and identifying the type of border that we want to apply. So these are the various options available in this menu. Now as we discussed, there are additional options in this dialog box. So for the font, addition to this single and double underline that we have already discussed, there is this single accounting and double accounting underline. So here suppose we are selecting this double accounting underline and pressing OK. So here it might look similar to this one, double underline in simple manner, but when we change this data to some accounting number, we can see the difference here. So this double accounting line get extended to the whole range of the cell rather than this simple double underline which extend only up to the data and not to the whole range of the cell. So mainly it is being used in accounting section rather than in routine one. Now this bold italic both selection can be done through this button and by selecting both this button simultaneously. This normal font will change any of the font into Calibri 11 regular one. So that kind of function can be used when we want to remove all the font related patterns. This effects is useful to strike through the data. So it will be like this, it will strike through the any data or any font. If we want to superscript, we may use this selection, or if we want to subscript the content, then we may use this selection. Now in the border part, we have already gone through this style and coloring, but if we want to apply an individual border in the selected range, we may do that by this selection. So if we want to apply only the top border and the right lateral border, we can do that. We can also apply the diagonal border in this selection. So it may get applied like this one. Now this diagonal pattern of border is useful in this kind of example where we want to indicate that these titles are including various OPDs and these are the various dates. So we can do it by applying this diagonal border here in the single cell, and then I would mention OPD, press Alt Enter and write date as a title. So this oblique pattern of the border would separate them, and it will be helpful for us to indicate that these are the OPDs and these are the dates. Also, by dividing this cell by a border, it doesn't mean that these are two separate cells. It is only the same cell C4, and so whatever data is there in this area would be considered as a single data, not a separate one. Other options available in this dialog box are related to this fill option. Over and above this fill color, we can have different patterns, and we can select the color for this pattern as well as the pattern itself for the specific cell. So if we apply that, it can be look like this one. Additionally, we may also have fill effects. So if we want to have different effects with the color, we can do that, and these are the various shading style for this gradient pattern, and we may apply that one as well. So all these options would help us to provide different patterns as well as highlight specific data in the table or any data set. So I hope this discussion will help you in future for preparation of any paper or dissertation or thesis. If you would have learned something new, kindly like the video and share it. Comment below the video if you want to discuss any other topics in the videos of this channel. Kindly subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to receive all the updates in this YouTube channel. Thank you.